Hi guys, Mike here over in Taiwan, and it's kind of a gloomy, weird day. Yesterday, I just spent my time staying inside. I think honestly it was a little bit of a waste of a day, but it is what it is. Sometimes you kind of need that reset, especially after Friday, Monday and Friday. I have a lot of work to do. It is what it is, right? Actually, my friend was asking me about whether or not he should work 7 days a week, and so in my other social media, I've been talking about my trips to Japan, because I used to live in Japan like a while ago, a long time ago, and I guess there's a lot of things that I don't want to say rude awakening, but there's a lot of things that I thought differently about Japan, like when I went there. There's probably some things that you probably already know before you even go to Japan. I would say probably that Japanese people are really private. Whenever I watch Japanese animation and there's kind of it's not like one of those where they kind of travel to another world and they have a new life thing. It's like just one of those normal, they live in an apartment and they have like neighbors downstairs and stuff like that. It seems like Japanese people are really sensitive to noise, especially if they're kind of older. And, maybe you might say, okay, well, that's like everywhere, right? But I would say probably really, really to do with Japan, they're very, very sensitive to that. So, if you just like, yell out in the middle of the night or like, constantly do stuff like that, they might complain. Are they probably going to call the cops? I don't know necessarily, but I don't really want to find out. I can tell you guys one story about a kind of little mishap that I had when I was in Japan. I did rent a car. I was really lucky enough that my job, because I did have an international driver's license and I was able to drive in Japan. So I took the parking spot because there was no parking spots there, so I just parked anywhere. And I took somebody's parking spot, and I probably, in hindsight, I didn't have a cell phone at that time, so that kind of shows you like how long it was since I've been there. But I should have taken a picture of this sign. It just had all this stuff all over it. Some of it was in red, some of it was like in these characters that just looked really menacing. I couldn't read it, so it just didn't really whatever to me. But so it was there. I didn't get a ticket or anything, but somebody was, basically I could get the gist of what they were saying is don't park in my parking spot, expletives, swearing, whatever it is. And I don't really care because I'll never see this person ever again. But it's really interesting how kind of they just deal with it. In Japan, I mean, if you look at it this way, like Korea has like 52 million people or something like that. Japan, I think it's like 131 million, like or something like that. So, I mean, there's just a lot more people over there. There's a lot of places that are really like a lot smaller. I'm in a place right now that's smaller than that, and it's just interesting how people will deal with certain situations and how their reality is different over there. I live in Taiwan right now, and I would say probably for the most part, if you just want to live in a place where like nobody bothers you, you could just go wherever you want. You could probably find out a way to live here like really cheaply. During the non-rainy season and the non-cold season, I would say probably you could even like camp outside if you want to, if you are crazy enough to go ahead and do that. But even people say that you could ride your scooter all the way around Taiwan, which is something I don't really recommend. But people have done that, and you can do that. I think the biggest problem with Taiwan is the fact that there's not really a consistency when it comes to roads, because you're going to have like a small road, a big road, and then a small road. And a lot of people have had problems when they go to these roads. I'm going to actually share with you something that was in the news a couple of days ago that I saw on my social media. And it's like really sad because it happened actually to be some Filipinos, 19 Filipinos were injured on this like tourist bus or whatever it was. I forget exactly where the location was, but it turns out that the driver of the bus was actually 61 years old. He didn't actually see that there was a truck that was parked. And the thing is that these buses, they go really, really fast. So he probably didn't have any chance to see. They said that there was another reason why, or whatever it is. And the point is that it crashed. They called like the fire department. They called all these emergency services, and 19 of these Filipino guys or ladies or whatever it was, they were all injured. So the point is, guys, that there's a lot of, and I mean, I hate to discriminate, but there's a lot of older drivers that are in Taiwan. And there's actually a rule that they come out now that you have to be, when you're 70 years old and you're still driving, you actually have to take some type of exam or some test that says like, okay, hey, or some class. Like I'm still okay to drive and blah, 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 right? I mean, there's no denying that people that are over a certain age, a certain whatever, they just, it's like they shouldn't be driving. And I mean, maybe you don't have enough money or time or resources to get somebody to go ahead and drive you. Or like maybe you're like, okay, well, I need to get to work. Maybe I'm laboring or whatever it is. But, guys, at the same time, I hate to say it, but you got to think about other people. And especially in some of these smaller towns, like in the middle of Taiwan, some people, there's too many driving infractions and blah, blah, blah. And if that's one thing that I have to kind of preface this about, kind of like the danger or whatever it is in Taiwan, that you got to watch out. You got to look out for that stuff. And it's kind of I'm just thinking about something that's a little bit ironic, that it's other people and these people who are not thinking about you or thinking about your situation. And it's kind of like you take your mind off it for 1 second, and this person is thinking about their life and where they have to go to, and they're rushing to work, and it just changes your life just like that. And you got to be careful. It's not like Canada. If there's one thing that I could probably give somebody a piece of advice about Taiwan versus living in Canada, is that the space that they give you in Taiwan is so small. If you're like in an elevator or something like that, people would just huddle and just bunch up together. You're at a crosswalk, and then people are just going to be standing beside you, and you're just wondering, like, why is this person standing beside me? It's so strange. And you just kind of have to deal with that. I guess this is partly why, like, a lot of people will wear masks, because I mean they just don't want to get sick, right? But it's just kind of, that's the standard and that's the norm of the fact that they are all like wearing masks. There's like some people at my job, I don't even remember what their face looks like because they're always wearing a mask. And I mean, maybe it is also kind of like twofold, because as a lady, if I wear a mask, I don't have to like wear makeup, any stuff like that. And I mean, I'm a man, so I don't really think about stuff like that. I think about like stuff like makeup. So, but it's just kind of an idea, like, don't hurt me if you guys think that I'm necessarily wrong about this, but it's just, there's so many things that I've learned about in Taiwan and in Japan for the time that I have lived there. I have lived in Korea too, South Korea, and there's so many things that you kind of have to deal with or just acclimatize to, get used to. I did know somebody who lived in South Korea for like 10 years or maybe 12 years, maybe more than that. They did have a school. They did, eventually they came over to Taiwan and opened up their own school too. And I keep talking about him. I don't think he's ever going to hear this, but whatever. But the point is that, I mean, you as a foreigner can open up your own school and can call the shots and can do whatever you want, in a business sense, if you do follow the rules and follow the things that they say that you have to do, and you invest the time, invest the energy, obviously marketing and stuff like that. So there is kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. Guys, I think I'm kind of like, I've been here for a while, so I do have some advice and I have some ideas. So if you guys have any comments about what I said, if you think that it's right or wrong, then let me know. This is Mike, and I'm living my life here over in Taiwan, and the weather's horrible, but have yourself a nice day. See you guys later. Bye.